Mr. Berry, Chapter 18 of the Project 2025 Manifesto is about the Department of Labor, and you are the author of that chapter, correct?
Lead author, yes. There's others too.
Yes, you are. I believe the American public should know exactly how you and the Republican majority that invited you to testify today want to sabotage the EEOC, rewrite the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and push all of us back to an era of Jim Crow racism. I'm shocked that my colleague across the aisle was in disbelief at our characterizations and assertions of racism and discrimination when even former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said the Republican side of the aisle looked like the most restrictive country club in America. We all know that Make America Great Again is about making America white only again. Yes or no? As a main author of Project 2025, are you aware of this fourth pillar playbook?
Well, to be
Yes or no?
To be clear, I'm here in my official capacity.
Yes or no?
So I don't want to have any confusion
I'm reclaiming
on that.
my time. You are under oath, and I don't want you to filibuster. Yes or no, are you aware of this fourth pillar playbook?
Okay, just so I can be clear, that writing that I did was in my personal capacity after getting the...
Reclaiming my time, I didn't ask you that. Are you aware of the fourth pillar playbook, and can you detail, as you are under oath, what exactly it calls for?
Again, I've not seen this fourth pillar playbook that you're talking about.
Moving on. I find it hard to believe that you don't know the details of this 100. Well, please, you are under oath, and do not waste my or the public's time.
I'm happy to talk about all of the policy ideas that I've talked about. I've talked about them in that context.
I want to talk about the 100-day playbook, the fourth pillar. Can you elucidate us to that?
Again,
All right, I'm moving on, sir. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record reporting from CNN titled "Right-Wing Media Figures Blame Women in Secret Service and DEI for Security Failure in Trump Shooting."
Without objection to order.
This article quotes members of Congress and others that plainly accuse DEI and the hiring of women as a liability for the Secret Service. Women have been an integral part of the agency since 1971 and are held to the same standards as their male counterparts. To use them as a scapegoat during a time of crisis is shameful, and it is dangerously divisive. In fact, based on recent publicly available demographic data of the agency, the largest demographic groups among special agents are white and male. But to right-wing extremists, the truth doesn't matter. The lies they tell to advance their anti-diversity agenda, which is a key theme throughout Project 2025, will only make the American public less safe and more divided. And every day, Director Cheadle, that you fail to give us answers, they are given more oxygen to make their baseless claims that women and people of color are responsible for tragic events. And that is dangerous too. Thank you. And I yield my remaining time to Ranking Member Raskin. You know, this would all be funny if it wasn't so devastating. At a time when the leader of the Republican Party is trying to claim that he has no connection whatsoever to Project 2025, an outright lie, another lie like the one that he spews daily about Haitian Americans in Springfield, Ohio. Again, the leader of the Republican Party is trying to claim that he has no connection whatsoever to Project 2025, an outright lie. Our Republican colleagues have invited 4 of the manifesto's architects to testify today. I'm over here. In a desperate attempt to erase all of the ways that the American public has benefited from the Biden-Harris administration, this committee has instead spotlighted what Project 2025 would offer: chaos and corruption. However, we would be ignoring a critical component of Project 2025 if we did not address the fact that its creators have been secretly peddling a, quote, 100-day playbook, unquote, that contains executive orders and emergency actions to roll out in the first hours of a second Trump presidency. Instead of sharing this plan with the public, an indictment of your dangerous policy plans in and of itself, those behind Project 2025 claim it is too controversial to release. Ms. Guna Sakara, yes or no? As a main author of Project 2025, are you aware of this playbook or quote-unquote fourth pillar? And remember, you are under oath.
Yeah, and it's online on the website.
Can you please detail what exactly it calls for?
I think you explained it pretty well. It is a plan of action so that when Republicans and conservatives have another chance at a next administration, there's not lost time, and so that there is a plan ready to go.
I don't know if that was specific enough. You are under oath. Can you please detail what exactly it calls for, this fourth pillar, this 180-day playbook? Please detail what it calls for.
Again, I'd reiterate what I just said, that I think you summarized it quite well. It includes a plan of action on day one so that
But you didn't say
Republicans...
anything, and that's the problem. What is the plan of action?
It's to institute a more conservative vision on things that the American people want, because they're experiencing all of these hardships caused by the chaos and corruption of the Biden-Harris administration.
Reclaiming my time. I find it hard to believe that you don't know details of the 100-day playbook, but there's one person that definitely knows, Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, and that is why as co-founder of the Stop Project 2025 Task Force, alongside Representative Jared Huffman and dozens of our colleagues, we sent a letter to Mr. Roberts requesting he testify before Congress and release this 180-day playbook. We sent this letter on August 8th. The next day, he delayed his book launch, went into hiding. Kevin Roberts, what are you so afraid of? I am disappointed but unsurprised that the authors and leaders of Project 2025 are hiding their 180-day playbook. So today, Congressman Huffman and I are announcing a new, fully confidential tip line. Any person can visit huffman.house.gov/tip-line-form to submit any information you have about the secret playbook behind Project 2025. That goes for conservatives with a change of heart, workers at the Heritage Foundation, and our witnesses here today, who will perhaps find more courage when the cameras are off. I yield. Thank you to our witnesses for being here today. You know, although the subject matter of today's hearing is to be expected, it certainly makes it no less offensive or frightening. My Republican colleagues very often like to quote Dr. King, I don't know, maybe for some faux civil rights credibility or to pervert his words to suit your extremist needs, while working actively to undermine his legislative legacy. On the first page of Chapter 18, Project 2025 complains about how the Biden administration has been fighting for racial equity. On the next page, it calls for eliminating data collection on race and ethnicity in employment. On the page after that, it calls for rescinding an executive order signed in 1965 that prohibits discrimination in hiring by contractors. Mr. Berry, do these terrible ideas sound familiar?
They're great ideas.
These terrible ideas sound familiar? Of course they do. You came up with them. Mr. Berry, I find it shameful to advance a vision attacking the very policies and agencies that have helped Black Americans secure jobs, earn a living, and provide for our families. This Project 2025 plan is policy violence, plain and simple. Its authors have placed such a large target on the EOC because of the incredible work the EOC is doing today. Last year alone, the agency filed more than 27,000 charges of race-based discrimination. These workers and their families have a pathway to justice, accountability, and healing because of the policies and regulations that Project 2025 is trying to get rid of. Ms. Wiley, how would workers be harmed by Project 2025's commitment to undermining crucial protections that are enforced by EOC and other federal agencies?
Well, essentially, it guts the ability to both be able to have the rights and have enforcement and protection of the rights that we already have, and we've been seeing improvements and advancements when we have been enforcing them. And I'm also deeply concerned with any suggestion that we should not be collecting data or that labor rights, the rights to organize, which has been so important for workers across race, including white men, to ensure that they're getting fair wages and safe working conditions. All of these are actually in that chapter, and they threaten our workplaces for people who are white, for people of color, for people of all backgrounds in this country. And I think that's why we all need to be concerned, because it really is about all of us.
That's right. They threaten our workplaces for every person who calls this country home. EOC offers essential protections that create workplaces where all of us can thrive, but Project 2025 aspires to be the realization of a decades-long crusade by Republicans to strip away this key pillar of the Civil Rights Act. As a founding member of the Stop Project 2025 Task Force, I look forward to showing and telling the American people exactly who you are, Mr. Berry, along with your extremist friends. I urge my colleagues to join me in building the inclusive world we know to be possible, one in which everyone, is there something funny?
No.
I didn't think so. Nothing funny about this. And in honor of my departed mother and for my 15-year-old daughter, I will do everything possible to stop you from building the world that you were hell-bent on doing. I urge my colleagues to join me in building the inclusive world we know to be possible, one in which everyone can show up to work free from discrimination. Thank you. I yield back.